Hello, everyone. Welcome back to True Stories After 50. What I'm about to share with you today is a true story that will restore your faith and loyalty, though perhaps not from where you'd expect it. If this story touches your heart, please subscribe and hit the like button. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories to light. This is the story of 78-year-old Margaret Anderson, a widow living in suburban Chicago. 10 years after losing her husband, she'd been sharing a home with her only son David, his wife Jennifer, and their granddaughter Emma for the past 3 years. But Margaret had one more special family member, Bailey, her 7-year-old Corgi. Margaret had adopted Bailey 5 years earlier to ease her loneliness. With his short legs and constant waddle, Bailey followed Margaret everywhere. He was her only real comfort. David worked in construction management and traveled frequently for business. Jennifer always seemed too busy to spend time with Margaret, rarely making conversation with her mother-in-law. Margaret had built a comfortable nest egg from running a successful restaurant for decades. She owned a condo in a nice Chicago suburb worth about $600,000, had $300,000 in savings, and received $2,000 monthly from rental income. It was a comfortable retirement. She wanted nothing more than to leave this wealth to her son and enjoy peaceful golden years. But about a year ago, Margaret started experiencing troubling symptoms. She'd forget meals she'd just eaten or leave the front door unlocked. At first, she dismissed it as simple forgetfulness, but the symptoms worsened. When she visited her doctor, he spoke carefully. "I'm seeing signs of early-stage dementia. With proper management starting now, we can slow its progression." The first person to react to this diagnosis was Jennifer. On the surface, she appeared concerned, but her mind was already calculating. Early-stage dementia meant Margaret still seemed mentally competent, but her legal capacity could be questioned, and managing her assets would become difficult. Jennifer casually broached the subject with David. "Honey, shouldn't we start looking into assisted living facilities for your mother? Dementia is hard to manage at home." David hesitated. "It's still early stage. Mom would hate going to a facility. How long can we keep this up? I have to work, and you're never home with all your traveling." Eventually, David gave in to his wife's pressure. Though he had a reputation as a devoted son, he was actually quite susceptible to his wife's influence. Jennifer had already researched 3 upscale facilities nearby. Margaret was devastated when she heard about the assisted living plans. "I want to stay in my home. What have I done wrong that I need to go to a facility?" "Mom, facilities nowadays are really nice. Professionals take care of you, and there are other people your age." Jennifer's voice was sweet, but Margaret could feel the coldness beneath it. When her son sided with his wife, Margaret couldn't argue anymore. Only Bailey understood Margaret's sadness. That night, he stayed by her bedside. A few days later, Jennifer began making her real moves. Her actual target wasn't assisted living, it was Margaret's assets. She planned to exploit the dementia diagnosis. If she could prove Margaret wasn't mentally competent, she could transfer asset management to David's name. Jennifer first targeted Margaret's bank accounts. Being old-fashioned, Margaret kept all her bank books and stamps in a drawer in her bedroom, wrapped in a red cloth. Jennifer started searching the room while Margaret and Bailey were supposedly out for a walk. But Jennifer didn't know they hadn't left yet. Margaret had forgotten her wallet and returned to the front door, Bailey with her. When Margaret quietly opened the door, Bailey sensed something wrong. He heard Jennifer's voice coming from Margaret's room and rushed ahead. When Bailey pushed the door open with his nose, Jennifer was holding Margaret's bank books and stamps, photographing them with her smartphone. Bailey growled low. Jennifer spun around, startled. "You? When did you get here? Didn't you go for a walk?" Bailey kept barking. Then Margaret entered the room. "Jennifer, what are you doing?" Jennifer panicked, but quickly changed her expression. "Oh, Mom. You scared me. I was just cleaning and organizing the drawers. Why did you take out my bank books? Oh, these. I was going to keep them safe for you. You know, with your memory not being so good lately." Margaret felt something was wrong, but didn't want to suspect her daughter-in-law. Bailey, however, was different. He kept barking at Jennifer, and from that day on, he remained wary whenever she was around. The next day, Jennifer grew bolder. She waited for Margaret's afternoon nap every day at 2 p.m. Margaret would doze on the sofa for about an hour. Jennifer carefully entered Margaret's room, taking out not just bank books, but also property deeds and various documents, photographing everything with her phone. But Bailey wasn't asleep. He was watching Jennifer's every move from a corner of the living room. The dog instinctively knew this woman was harming his owner. Bailey quietly walked toward Margaret's room and peered through the doorway. Jennifer was still photographing documents. Bailey knew he had to stop this. Then Bailey noticed something interesting: Margaret's old smartphone on the bedside table. His owner had given Margaret this hand-me-down phone since she couldn't manage newer models. Bailey had watched Margaret record him many times. She loved capturing his cute moments. Bailey had learned that when Margaret touched the screen and pressed the red button, she was recording him. Dogs are far more intelligent than people realize. Corgis, bred as herding dogs, are particularly observant and smart. In that moment, Bailey made a decision. He carefully entered the room. Jennifer was so focused on the documents she didn't notice. Bailey stood before the bedside table. It was slightly higher than him, but he raised his front paws onto the surface. The smartphone was right next to his paw. Bailey touched it with his nose. The screen lit up. Since Margaret hadn't set a password, it unlocked immediately. Bailey remembered the camera app icon he'd seen before. He pressed it with his paw. The camera launched, and he knew the red circle, the record button. Carefully, Bailey pressed the red button with his paw. Once, twice on the third try, it activated. Recording began. The phone's camera was pointed directly at Jennifer. Jennifer remained absorbed in photographing documents. She captured every page of the bank books, property deeds, rental contracts, even Margaret's health insurance card. Then she muttered, "This should be enough. If I take this to a lawyer, I can file for guardianship. Then all this money becomes ours." Bailey's smartphone was recording everything: Jennifer's face, the documents in her hands, and every word she muttered. Jennifer finished and returned the documents to the drawer. As she was about to leave, she noticed the smartphone on the bed. The screen showed it was recording. Jennifer's face went pale. "What the?" She grabbed the phone and checked the video. There she was, clearly captured photographing documents and muttering to herself, "How did this?" Jennifer looked at Bailey. He was still standing with his front paws on the table, staring at her. Suddenly, she realized this dog had pressed the record button. "You little." Jennifer tried to kick Bailey, but he dodged quickly and started barking loudly. The barking woke Margaret. "What's going on?" "Bailey?" Jennifer panicked and tried to delete the video, but Margaret was entering the room. Jennifer quickly tossed the phone onto the bed and left. "Nothing, Mom." Bailey just started barking suddenly. Several days passed. Jennifer still wanted to get that phone, and Bailey continued guarding Margaret. Margaret sensed something was wrong in the house, but couldn't be certain. Then one day, something decisive happened. Emma, Margaret's granddaughter, found the smartphone while playing in her grandmother's room. The fifth grader was skilled with technology. "Grandma, when did you record this?" Emma discovered the recent video in the gallery and played it. The video clearly showed Jennifer photographing documents. and her voice was audible. "This should be enough. If I take this to a lawyer, I can file for guardianship. Then all this money becomes ours." Margaret was shocked. Here was concrete proof that her daughter-in-law was after her assets. Her hands trembled. "Emma, don't tell anyone about this. Especially not your mother. Grandma, isn't this bad? Shouldn't we show it to the police?" "No, honey. Grandma will handle it." Margaret watched the video repeatedly. Then she looked at Bailey. He sat beside her, wagging his tail. "Bailey, did you record this?" Bailey barked. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. It was sad yet touching that a dog cared more for her than her own family. Margaret contacted her old friend, attorney Sarah Mitchell. They'd known each other for 50 years, since Margaret's restaurant days. "Margaret, this is clear attempted asset theft. You need to report this to the police." "I can't do that to David. If Jennifer goes to jail, what happens to my son?" "Then at least secure the evidence. You might need it later." Following Sarah's advice, Margaret backed up the video in multiple places: the cloud, a USB drive, and with Sarah herself. Meanwhile, Jennifer grew increasingly desperate. She believed she needed to divert the assets before Margaret went to a facility. Jennifer devised a bolder plan. She tried to convince David to take out a loan against Margaret's condo without Margaret's knowledge. With the dementia diagnosis, she thought they could act as legal guardians and secure the loan. "Honey, let's take out $1 million loan against your mom's condo and buy a small commercial building downtown. The rental income would be great. That's mom's property. Can we even do that? Your mother has dementia. We need to manage it for her. It'll all be ours eventually anyway." David hesitated, but eventually gave in. He was a husband and father before being a son, and he'd always deferred to his wife. Jennifer secretly took Margaret's stamp. She began forging documents. But again, Bailey was watching. Bailey followed Jennifer and noticed she was doing something in the study. When Jennifer emerged with forged documents heading for the bank, Margaret appeared at the front door. "Jennifer, where are you going?" "Oh, Mom. Just going to the bank for something." "What for?" "Just organizing my accounts." Margaret noticed the documents in Jennifer's hand. That was clearly Margaret's property deed. "What is that?" "Oh, this. I was organizing your documents. I thought it would be safer to keep them at the bank." Margaret couldn't hold back anymore. "Jennifer, I may have early dementia, but I'm not a fool. I know what you're doing." Jennifer's face hardened. "What do you mean?" "I know you're after my assets. Bailey recorded you stealing my documents." Jennifer panicked, but quickly changed her attitude. "Mom, what are you talking about? When did I steal anything? How could a dog record anything?" "Mom, are you really experiencing dementia?" "What did you say?" "You're seeing things, Mom." "A dog operating a phone like a person? Please, don't say such ridiculous things." Jennifer was cleverly trying to make Margaret seem delusional. If she could spread the word that Margaret was saying strange things, it would be evidence her dementia had worsened. Margaret was furious. "Give me my documents now." "Mom, calm down. I'm doing this for you." "Why are you acting like this?" As they argued, Bailey kept barking at Jennifer. Then David came home from work. "What's going on?" Margaret explained everything to her son, how Jennifer was after her assets, how there was video evidence. But David didn't believe his mother. "Mom, Jennifer wouldn't do that." "You're mistaken. David, you don't believe your mother?" "I want to, but a dog recording video, does that make sense?" "Mom, lately with your memory issues, maybe?" David couldn't finish. But Margaret knew what he was implying. Her own son was treating her like a dementia patient. Margaret went to her room in tears. Only Bailey followed her. She held Bailey and cried for a long time. "Bailey, you're the only one who believes me. People are all the same." Bailey licked her face, as if to say, "Don't worry." The next day, Margaret visited Attorney Sarah's office with Bailey. She showed her everything: the video, photos, and Jennifer's forged documents. Sarah looked serious. "Margaret, this isn't just a family dispute. This is clear attempted crime. Document forgery, attempted asset theft. You need to press charges." "But what about David? I think he doesn't know anything." "Whether David really didn't know requires investigation. But at minimum, you need to protect your assets." After much deliberation, Margaret decided to file charges against Jennifer. Though she hesitated because of her son, she couldn't let this continue. A complaint was filed with the police. The video evidence and documents were submitted, and police immediately began investigating. Jennifer received a shocking summons. "What is this? Your mother is pressing charges against me?" Police showed her the video evidence: Jennifer photographing Margaret's documents mentioning guardianship, all clearly captured. This is fabricated. How could a dog record this?" The authenticity has been verified through forensic analysis. The video is genuine, and numerous photos of the victim's documents were found on your phone. Police had seized Jennifer's phone and found decisive evidence: photos of Margaret's bank books, property deeds, various documents filled Jennifer's phone. They even found messages with a law office inquiring about guardianship procedures. Jennifer couldn't defend herself. The evidence was too clear. She was arrested and awaited trial. David was devastated. Learning that his wife had truly been after his mother's assets and had tried to use him to commit crimes, he fell to his knees before his mother. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't believe you. I was pathetic." Margaret helped her son stand. "David, it's not your fault. Trusting someone isn't wrong. But I doubted you, Mom. Bailey protected you, but I, your own son." David looked at Bailey, still faithfully by Margaret's side. "Thank you, Bailey. Thank you for protecting my mother." Bailey wagged his tail. The trial began. The prosecutor methodically laid out Jennifer's crimes, attempting to exploit Margaret's dementia diagnosis to file for guardianship, trying to steal assets, forging documents. The defense tried to defend Jennifer, but the evidence was overwhelming. Especially Bailey's video, it was decisive. The video became the talk of the courtroom. Is it true that the defendant's crime was recorded by a pet dog? Yes, Your Honor. The victim's Corgi, Bailey, accidentally pressed the record button and captured the footage. Wouldn't it be difficult to view this as intentional recording by a dog? Regardless of intent, forensic analysis confirmed the video's authenticity. And considering canine intelligence, it's difficult to view this as mere coincidence. An animal behaviorist testified as an expert witness. Corgis are extremely intelligent. Bred as herding dogs, they have exceptional observational and decision-making abilities. Bailey had watched his owner record him with her smartphone multiple times and learned the pattern. He detected suspicious behavior from the daughter-in-law and may have instinctively tried to preserve evidence. Can a dog think at that level? Dogs are far smarter than we realize. Especially their instinct to protect their owner is very strong. Bailey's actions are entirely plausible. The courtroom buzzed. Some spectators marveled at Bailey's intelligence. Others were outraged by Jennifer's audacity. The trial revealed even more shocking facts. Jennifer had been targeting Margaret's assets from long before. Messages and search history from Jennifer's phone showed she'd been assessing her mother-in-law's wealth since early in her marriage. The prosecutor presented evidence. The defendant created an inventory of her mother-in-law's assets 3 years ago when they began living together. Condo value, bank balances, rental income, all meticulously documented. And 1 year ago, when her mother-in-law received a dementia diagnosis, she immediately began researching guardianship laws. The defendant never intended to genuinely care for her mother-in-law. From the beginning, she only wanted the money. She saw the dementia diagnosis as an opportunity to legally steal the assets. Jennifer hung her head. She had no more excuses. The judge delivered the sentence with a stern expression. The defendant, Jennifer Collins, is sentenced to 2 years imprisonment, suspended for 3 years, for elder abuse, attempted asset theft, and document forgery. Additionally, she is ordered to perform 200 hours of community service and pay $50 in damages to the victim. Jennifer avoided prison time, but her life was already ruined. David filed for divorce, and the neighborhood branded her a disgraceful daughter-in-law. Jennifer eventually left the house, and custody of Emma went to David. After the trial, Margaret walked in the park with Bailey. Many people recognized Bailey and greeted them. Bailey's story had been widely reported in the media, making him an overnight celebrity. "Look, that's Bailey, the dog who saved his grandma. So smart. Dogs are better than some people." People's praise made Bailey wag his tail, but fame and attention didn't matter to him. As long as Margaret was happy, that was enough. Margaret stroked Bailey and said, "Bailey, I would have been in serious trouble without you." "Thank you." Bailey barked up at Margaret, as if to say it was simply what he should do. After this incident, Margaret lived peacefully with David and Emma, just like before. After the divorce, David cared even better for his mother. He regretted his mistakes and worked hard to become a truly devoted son. Margaret's dementia didn't progress further. In fact, spending happy time with family improved her symptoms. The doctor said, "With reduced stress and a stable environment, your symptoms have improved. If you continue managing like this, you can stay healthy for a long time." Margaret never heard about assisted living again. David decided to care for his mother at home and did his best. Emma, now in middle school, saw Bailey as a hero. She proudly shared Bailey's story at school, and all her friends were envious. "Our Bailey saved Grandma. Bailey is the smartest dog in the world." Emma grew even closer to Bailey. She played with him daily and took him on walks. Bailey loved Emma too. This case had significant social impact. As news spread about family crimes targeting elderly assets, many people became more vigilant. Statistics revealed increasing cases of asset theft targeting dementia patients. Experts called for institutional safeguards. The guardianship system is meant to protect the elderly, but it's often exploited. Reform is urgently needed. Elderly people often don't report abuse because they trust their children. We need community awareness and oversight. Bailey's story was published as a book titled Bailey, the Dog Who Saved Grandma. It became a bestseller and touched many readers. One reader wrote, "I cried reading this book. It's sad yet moving that a pet can be more loyal than family. It made me reflect on how our society treats the elderly." Another said, "Bailey is truly amazing. They say dogs are better than people, and it's true. It made me want to get a pet." Bailey's story was even made into a movie. The film was a hit upon release, and Bailey played himself. On set, Bailey performed like a professional actor. The director was impressed. Bailey is incredibly smart. He understands in one take and performs perfectly. Better than some human actors. Margaret and Bailey attended the movie premiere together. People crowded around to see Bailey. He was a star. A year passed, Margaret remained healthy. Her dementia symptoms hadn't worsened. Her memory was actually improving slightly. Doctors called it miraculous. Normally, dementia progresses, but Mrs. Anderson is actually improving. Family love and a stable environment seem to have helped tremendously. Margaret now walked daily in the park with Bailey, meeting old friends and enjoying life. She was happy. David was promoted at work. He balanced work and family, living diligently. Most importantly, he cared well for his mother. "Mom, what would you like for dinner?" "David, I'll make your favorite." "No, Mom. I'll cook today." "You rest." David had truly changed. He was now a genuinely devoted son. Emma was headed to veterinary school. "Grandma, I'm going to be a vet. I want to care for animals like Bailey." "That's wonderful, Emma. Grandma will support you." Emma hugged Bailey tight. "Bailey, when I become a vet, you'll be my first patient." Bailey wagged his tail happily. One day, Margaret visited the prison where Jennifer was serving time. Despite her suspended sentence, Jennifer had failed to pay damages, leading to civil litigation. During enforcement, other criminal charges emerged, and she ultimately received an actual prison sentence. Jennifer was shocked to see Margaret. "Mom, Jennifer." They sat facing each other in the visiting room. Bailey sat quietly beside Margaret. "Mom, I'm sorry. I was so wrong." Jennifer genuinely regretted her actions. Prison had made her realize how gravely she'd erred. "I've forgiven you. But I came to see if you truly regret what you did." "Mom, I'm truly sorry. My greed led me to do terrible things. I never thought about you. I only thought about money." Jennifer cried. "I've learned so much here. How precious family is, that money isn't everything. I know that now, even if it's late." Margaret took Jennifer's hand. "Jennifer, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is learning from them. If you truly regret this, I can forgive you." "Mom, but David and Emma, that's not my decision. You have to work that out yourself." Jennifer nodded. "I know. It's what I did. When I get out, I want to properly apologize to Emma. I'm not qualified to be her mother, but I at least want to say I'm sorry." Margaret stroked Bailey. "Look at Bailey. This small creature did everything he could to protect me. People shouldn't be worse than dogs." Jennifer looked at Bailey. He was still wary of her. "Bailey, I'm sorry. I was terrible." Bailey turned his head away. He hadn't forgiven her yet. Time passed. 2 more years went by. Bailey was now 9 years old, middle-aged in dog years. But he remained healthy and continued caring for Margaret. Margaret stayed healthy too. Her dementia symptoms had completely disappeared. She was actually more vibrant than before. Doctors called it a medical miracle. With reduced stress and stability, your symptoms improved. If you continue this management, you can stay healthy for many years. Margaret no longer heard about assisted living. David had committed to caring for his mother at home, doing his best. Emma became a pre-vet major at a prestigious university, pursuing her dream step by step. "Grandma, I'm going to be a vet. I'll save lots of animals like Bailey." "I'm so proud of you, Emma." When Bailey turned 10, health problems emerged. His heart was weakening. The veterinarian spoke carefully. "Bailey's getting older, and his heart is weakening. He needs medication and management. Don't let him overexert himself." Margaret was shocked. The thought of Bailey being sick broke her heart. "Doctor, is Bailey very ill?" "He's okay for now. But we need to be careful going forward." Margaret cared for Bailey even more carefully. Shorter walks, special attention to food. The whole family worried about Bailey. "Bailey, don't be sick. You need to stay with Grandma for a long, long time." Bailey still wagged his tail, comforting Margaret. Even though he was the sick one, he seemed more worried about her. Fortunately, with medication, Bailey's condition stabilized. He continued staying by Margaret's side, and Margaret never left his. More years passed. Bailey turned 12, elderly, in dog years. His movements weren't as quick as before, and his fur had grayed considerably. But Bailey's eyes remained clear and loyal. Margaret was now 82 years old, but she remained healthy and sharp. The two friends still walked together daily, spending time together. One spring day, Margaret and Bailey walked through a park filled with blooming cherry blossoms. Petals drifted like snow in the wind. "Bailey, aren't the cherry blossoms beautiful?" Bailey looked up at Margaret and barked. "Let's stay together like this for a long, long time. Grandma can't do without you." Bailey licked Margaret's hand as if to say, "Don't worry." That evening, the family gathered for dinner: Margaret, David, Emma, and Bailey. The table was full of delicious food. "Grandma, I cooked today. Enjoy your meal." Emma was now in college, her dream of veterinary medicine within reach. "I'm so proud of how you've grown, Emma. It's all because of you, Grandma. You raised me with love." The family enjoyed their meal harmoniously. Bailey ate contentedly from his own bowl. After dinner, Margaret sat on the sofa with Bailey, watching television. A show about pets was on. So many people have pets now. "Pets are family." Margaret nodded at the host's words. "That's right. Bailey is our family." Bailey rested his chin on Margaret's lap, relaxed and comfortable. That night, Margaret lay in bed looking at Bailey sleeping beside it. "Bailey, you coming into our home was the greatest blessing of my life. Without you, I would have lost my assets and my family. Thank you, Bailey." Bailey's tail twitched slightly in his sleep. Margaret recalled all the moments with Bailey the day she adopted him, bringing him home and naming him, the day he protected her, and every day since. Bailey wasn't just a pet. He was Margaret's friend, family, and sometimes her guardian. Bailey gave Margaret unconditional love, and Margaret loved him truly. There are many forms of family in this world. Some are bound by blood, others by connection. Bailey and Margaret were bound by connection, and that bond was stronger than any blood tie. The lesson of this story is clear: true family is bound not by blood but by heart. And sometimes, animals can be more loyal and loving than people. Margaret and Bailey's story touched many people. It made society reflect on how we treat the elderly and awakened appreciation for companion animals. Most of all, it showed the meaning of true love and loyalty. Bailey isn't simply a dog who protected Margaret's assets. He's a hero who saved Margaret's life, and Margaret gave Bailey a warm home. They saved each other. Today, Margaret and Bailey still take walks together. Their steps are slow, but they're happy just being beside each other. Bailey looks up at Margaret and barks, and Margaret strokes Bailey. "Bailey, I love you." Woof! This is the story of Bailey and Margaret. A story of betrayal and redemption, love and forgiveness. A story where the smallest hero showed the greatest love. Look around you. Is there a Bailey in your life? Someone who loves you unconditionally and protects you? Whether human or animal, be grateful for them and love them. Finally, respect and love the elderly. They are both our past and our future. A society that values them is truly mature. And if you have a pet, treat them like family. They give you unconditional love. Returning that love is our responsibility. Bailey and Margaret are still living happily. Their story hasn't ended. Their love continues. And that love gives hope and comfort to many people. Be like Bailey, someone who truly loves and protects others. And be like Margaret, someone who cherishes that love. Thank you for listening to the story of Bailey and Margaret. If this story moved you, please subscribe to True Stories After 50 and hit the notification bell. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, loyalty has no price tag, and sometimes the smallest hearts hold the greatest love. Until next time, take care of each other.